Hello everyone and welcome to Athena Games. As you can see, we have Wave 11 with us tonight, and as usual when a new wave comes out, we have an unboxing for you this evening. In the booth you've got myself, David Lincoln, and in the booth alongside me we've got your usual suspects, Robin Farndon, Max Bull, and helping run the stream for the overlay for the unboxing itself, Elliot Baker. So, Wave 11, a lot of hype for this, really. I would sort of go and say that from an outstart on that one, I think.
I think so. Pretty enthused about every ship in this wave. Like, this is some good stuff.
There's some interesting things in here. Something's gonna shake stuff up quite a bit.
And I think that's obviously a nice thing to have, like a huge shake up after sort of like I'm gonna say a slightly stale like few months of having sort of like a sort of strong staple meta in that, if you see what I mean with that.
It's quite interesting actually. The meta's been quite in flux,
it has,
particularly since the FAQ came out that had
those Manaru
sweeping changes. So Manaru got hit, the Emperor got hit, X7 got hit.
We haven't had a completely stable meta for a while, really.
It's really interesting seeing what the recent Store Championship results have been like. There's, I mean, obviously Store Championship season is the point at which people start to break things out, experiment, try and figure out what's good and what isn't.
Yeah.
But even so, we've seen a remarkable amount of variety, and contrary to popular opinion, Imperials are not dead.
No.
And you say about...
No, very much not.
And say about FAQ and stuff, I'm surprised the 2400s haven't got a nerf yet after what happened at Europeans. But beside the points, we do have a build-off this evening, so bear that in mind, guys. We have a link in the video that you can see on the stream in front of you there. If you follow that link, it will take you to a web page, and that web page is with all the 8 lists, not 9, 8 lists, that have been built by Robin, Max, and hopefully join us later, Chris Turner.
Inception time.
They've been built by the 3 of them, and the 2 most voted lists, as always, will go head-to-head against each other. Keep voting on that, guys, and we'll see what happens after we've gone through all these 3 ships. To kick it off, we were going to start with the Aggressor, move on to the Azituk, and finish with the Skurg Bomber. So without further ado, let's move on with the TIE Aggressor.
So we've got, conveniently, 2 rows of ships. So you can see them in their
packaging. In the box, so then out the box.
We'll be breaking them out as we go. Interesting to see the TIE Aggressor. It's not actually a ship I'm that familiar with. Not sure about its original provenance. I'd assume it's probably one of the X-Wing games.
That seems
plausible. Would be my best guess.
Star Wars Galaxies.
There we go. Galaxies.
See, our Star Wars wiki himself. It's a nice little thing. I actually quite like that. I like the image they used for the article as well, with the lightning strikes all around. That was quite nice.
So dinky little ship,
tiny thing. Very very similar in profile to the advanced.
I was gonna say you've kind of got minus a few bits of panels.
It's a little bit pointier. It's a pointy advance.
Yeah.
And convenient cutouts so that those turrets will not just blow the wings away.
Yes. And looking at it, the points are in fact pointing behind it.
Yes.
That's backwards. That is
that's our rear-mounted turret.
Yeah.
So much like the Psyche, I imagine a few people may get confused about which direction the ship is pointing.
Yes. I always get confused between the M3 and the Protectorate. I've not even put an M3 on the table yet. I'm still confused.
Oh, no, it's fine. Just turn it around. It becomes the other one. It's like reversible cards, but for a ship.
Yeah. So, as always, I think it's better to go through the pilots first, and then we'll have a look at what each expansion comes with themselves.
We do have a question from Nairos when it gets to it, which is how much do you think the Aggressor will see play compared to how much its upgrades will see play, particularly unguided missiles?
I think the Aggressor is going to see an awful lot of play. I think it's going to become one of the staples of the Imperial fleet within weeks of release.
That seems reasonable. I do think they're going to turn up a lot.
I could quite easily see Pilot Skill 2 sitting at the table as TLT carriers.
Yeah, and also interesting things.
Yeah.
Harsh, Max. Harsh.
Low blow.
No. Points cost. It's got a very much similar points cost to that of a Y-wing. So that's why I was going for it. But
Speak your mind, Max.
at least he's honest. You got to give him fair play.
No. I don't think anyone can argue that that like Quad TLT is an interesting list.
No.
No one can argue that. It's powerful, yes, but it's not interesting.
Yeah.
Should we take a gander at our pilots then?
Yep.
So, clocking in at Pilot Skill 2, we've got our Sinar Specialist, the generic Pilot Skill 2 TIE Aggressor. Like all TIE Aggressors, we've got 2 attack, 2 agility, 4 hull, 1 shield. On our action bar, we've got focus, target lock, and barrel roll. And on the upgrade bar, we've got turret and a double missile. A bit of an Imperial feature, the double missile slot.
And it's also a nice thing to have another Imperial ship with a target lock built in, because you don't get many of those.
Yeah, it's a little more unusual in the Imperial fleet. 17 points, which seems
cheap,
reasonable for the points cost, and not a bad dial either. Like the only red move on it is its 4K turn, and then everything else is white and green. No white no one speed hard turns, but
apart from that,
otherwise pretty decent. I think.
No, I think it's a reasonable dial for say.
I'll definitely take
a turreted ship.
I'll definitely take that dial to fly a Y-wing with than the one the Y-wing has.
Yeah, it's a much nicer dial than a Y-wing. Which
it's interesting to compare it to a Y-wing because obviously once you put lightweight frame on it, once you put a TLT on it, then the two are in a very similar kind of price bracket to each other. But their defensive capabilities come from very different places. The Y-wing's all about being this beefy pile of hull.
Whereas this is just like wants to get up your grill and then run away.
Well, it has the 2 agility, which is
nice.
Why it's going to survive. The barrel roll as well for a turreted ship, which again the Y-wing doesn't have.
And built in as well.
Is a very big advantage. And the ability to take the lightweight frame, boosting it up to most of the time 3 agility.
Yeah.
Most of the time.
Now I think this is going to be a solid ship. I do think we're going to see a lot of TLTs on it, but I don't think that is going to be the only thing that it's flying with by any stretch of the imagination.
No, there's other things you can do with it.
When we get to our upgrades, in fact, I think we'll see some of what might be kicking around quite quickly. Do we want to move on to our next one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so Pilot Skill 5, we've got our Onyx Squadron Escort. Same stat line, same upgrade bar, same action bar, 19 points. Notably, no elite pilot talent.
It's not scum.
It's unusual for any of the elite generics at this point not to come with one.
Yeah.
I have a sneaking suspicion
it may be because of the turret.
It might be because of the turret. I also think this means it is going to see basically no play.
I think you're probably right.
You could take 4 ion cannons on this and nothing else for 100 points.
At this point, no. I mean, at that point, all you're doing is you're spending 2 points for some pilot skill, and that 2 points could be much better spent on a lightweight frame.
But 4 pilot skill for effectively the same cost as putting 2 lots of VI on it.
3 pilot
skill. 3. So yeah.
No, it's just not worth it that low.
I think that's the big thing. The jump between 2 and 5 pilot skill isn't big enough.
No.
To make a difference.
Not at all.
It's possible that I may be guessing incorrectly on this, and we are seeing quite a lot of pilot skill 3 generics out there at the moment, so outbidding them may be quite valuable.
Maybe.
It will be interesting to see how things shape up over the next couple of months as to whether or not that bump in pilot skill is a particularly valuable factor.
Yeah. But we sort of go back down in pilot skill for the next one because we've got a unique coming in at pilot skill 4.
This is Double Edge, our first named TIE Aggressor. Slightly oddly, they do come in with an elite pilot talent despite being a lower pilot skill than the Onyx Squadron. They are also 19 points. And they've got the pilot ability, once per round after you perform a secondary weapon attack that does not hit, you may perform an attack with a different weapon. So
potentially, if you don't lock it in with anything else, potentially this is reverse BTLA 4.
It's
on effect of a gunner, so it has to fail on the first shot.
Yeah. No, it's a built-in gunner effect, and those are always useful.
Yeah.
And for relatively cheap, only 19 points.
Yeah.
is quite nice.
Like lightweight frame on that,
Yeah.
and then a cheap secondary weapon, and you've got a platform that's potentially capable of like doing a bit of token stripping and taking advantage of
I'd be
things.
very surprised if the Aggressor didn't just come with a lightweight frame as standard.
Yeah,
Just all of them.
given it's in the box.
No, yes, that'll help. That'll definitely help.
People have been a bit. I don't know. I've not seen as much enthusiasm around Double Edge as I'd expected because, to my mind, given her price costs, given her pilot ability,
Yeah.
Well, her points.
I think Double Edge is a him. That's quite a decent power. Like getting Gunner for nothing, more or less, is not bad at all.
Yeah.
But you think also, you say that the Pilot Skill 5 generic was worth 19 points. Double Edge is exactly the same.
But
Yeah.
is actually worth it.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
think.
one pilot skill less, but you get
An
a
EPT
strong
and
Most
ability.
of the time, if
Yeah.
you're comparing a generic to a one pilot skill lower, the one pilot skill lower is better.
Yeah. I mean, no, I think Double Edge is going to see some play for cheap
harassment.
harassment. Yeah, very much. That's definitely the right word.
Yeah.
And then, last of all, at Pilot Skill 7, our top aggressor ace here, we've got Lieutenant Kestel, and she's clocking in at Pilot Skill 7 for 22 points. Like Double Edge, she's got an elite pilot talent, and her ability is, when attacking, you may spend one focus token to cancel all of the defender's blank and focus results. So, bye-bye auto thrusters.
Yes.
Bye-bye posability.
Yeah.
Like,
There's a lot of stuff that's going to get shot down here.
That's going to have a lot of trouble with this.
like Kestel with...
Or defense, even, you see like 3 focuses, like,
No, that means nothing. Yeah, you have to roll natural defense on nothing.
exactly.
It does mean she is potentially giving up her
defense to do it.
her attack modification, as I was going to say. But that's why I think we're going to
Missile guidance chips?
That's one, maybe 2 shots of missile. You can't guidance chips on guided rockets. No. What I think makes the most sense for her is to use the turret. What I'm looking at with this is sync turret Deadeye.
Yeah.
Because that way she gets the Deadeye to stop, so she doesn't need the target lock, so she can spend her action on the focus. Gets the rerolls because the sync turret does what it does. The sync turret being a 3 attack turret that can reroll.
Well, we'll come to it in a moment.
We'll come to it. It's in the box, but it gives her that ability and it gives her some attack modification, so she can use her focus on her ability.
Lone Wolf, I think, is her best friend, to be honest.
Lone Wolf also a good option, I think,
because that's giving you attack mods, defense mods, the ability to like use your barrel roll fairly freely as well if you need to in a pinch. I've got a lot of time for Lieutenant Kestel. I'm just not 100% sure what the optimal loadout for her is as yet.
I was going to say, just before we move on, actually, saying about going for barrel roll for a pinch, there's a thing come here from the Juice 84 saying Kessel with push to limit and homing missiles would be nice.
Yeah, I can see that.
Potentially.
Like it's not cheap, but it is super punchy.
We've got people saying Wes.
Oh, yeah.
Halo are going to be coming to play against Kestel.
Wes is going to be nice against it though because of his high PS and can guarantee it.
We also have someone, Nyros questions again, what secondary weapon would you use with Double Edge? Would you go turret or missile? Let's bring up Double Edge once again.
So with Double Edge, I'm gonna briefly dip into the world of things we haven't talked about yet that are in this expansion pack. Unguided rockets are in fact going to be the big thing. In fact, that is possibly a nice seg into talking about our
Another
upgrade
thing
cards.
though, with just with Kestel's been with 22 points, I think is an important thing. It's a nice low points cost chip. Another sort of cheap pocket ace, like with which I think we've
like
been seeing.
Duchess and
So I was going to say, which is what we've been seeing for the Imperials, along with the Striker. It keeps this ship like you don't need to spend a lot of points on an Aggressor to make it something worthwhile on the board, which is nice, I think.
So, should we take a quick glance at unguided rockets to start us up on?
that makes a good starting point.
So, unguided rockets. The first of what will be a theme through Wave 11, the double upgrade slot. And in this particular case, unguided rockets is a double missile slocked 3 attack dice, range 1 to 3 missile. Clocking in at 2 points, it has attack focus, attack 1 ship. Your attack can be modified only by spending a focus token for its standard effect. Worth noting, the key thing about this, you do not discard it. So it's there, you can just keep using it time on time on time.
We're seeing this again later, munitions that don't get spent.
Part of me is thinking that feels like it's so much power. Yeah, like you had the Arc Cast that was so much power for one turn and went away. You partly think, well, I know it's nice to have the big dice, but you're going to get that constantly. You might as well sit at range band 3, go focus, I can shoot whatever the heck I like.
No, what this is turns the ship that it's on into a 3 dice primary-ish, without range 1 bonus, but also without range 3 bonus for its target, and gives it essentially an immunity to its enemy, to your opponent's demodding your own attack dice, because your dice cannot be modded except by spending
A focus token for its standard effect.
Means that enemy abilities like say
Kanan
Center
Jarrus.
Jammer or Kanan Jarrus will not work. Actually, no, Kanan Jarrus will, because he removes dice, and that's fine.
Yeah.
But things like Center Jammer will not work on an unguided rocket.
Or R7, because you spend a target lock to make them reroll their dice.
No range 3 bonus either.
Yes, no range 3 bonus.
One of the key things to note about it is because it's a double missile slot, that means it only goes on 3 ships. It can go on the TIE Aggressor, it can go on the TIE Bomber, and it can go on the TIE Punisher, and that is it. Double missile is an Imperial only feature, at least as things currently stand. So while the upgrade card doesn't strictly say Imperial only,
It might as well do for now.
it might as well do for now, indeed. But in answer to Ian's question a moment ago, this is the munition to go on double edge. If you're aiming to keep him cheap, it's 2 points for that, it's 2 points for lightweight frame, and you throw trick shot on there as well.
That puts him on 24 points.
23 points.
23?
23 because trick shot's only a 0.1.
Yes.
And that's giving you 4 dice through an obstacle with the unguided rockets, then a 3 dice primary weapon if the unguided rockets don't do their job.
That's not a bad way of saying, well, if it doesn't do its job, then that's not a bad thing to go.
That's...
But there's a nice little one here actually from Nyros. He says he would still give a shout out to 4 Cutlass Squadron Punishers, guidance chips, collision detector, and unguided rockets on each of them. Yes, please. That sounds like a lot of tankiness to roll through.
Though it's worth noting, guidance chips do not work with unguided rockets because the only way you can modify those dice is via that focus token.
Long range scanners, not that it's really necessary, but it helps the primary.
On cutlasses, you take lightweight frame and boost them up to agility 2 effectively.
Long range scanners will get you target locks. You can't use target locks on unguided rockets.
You can on the primary, though.
You can on the primary, true.
That's unguided rockets, I think, fairly thoroughly covered.
I think so.
Next up, following our secondary weapon theme, we've got Synced Turret. This is a new card for this wave, but not unique to this pack, as it's also found in the Skurg. So Synced Turret is a 3 dice range 1 to 2 turret. Clocking in at 4 points. It is an attack target lock turret, which is a first, I think, as well. Attack 1 ship, even a ship outside your firing arc. If the defender is inside your primary firing arc, you may re-roll the number of attack dice up to your primary weapon value. So that's quite efficient, potentially.
Yes.
It's not TLT efficient, I don't think, but it
Perhaps
does
not,
a very different job.
But BTLA 4, if you shoot with your primary on a Y-wing, you then get to built-in 2 re-roll. It's not bad.
Yeah, no, you can get a good bit of modification with that on a Y-wing. I do think a good number of aggressors are going to like it, and it's a turret that can be used as a turret, but does benefit your arc.
So
in a very similar way to Ray.
If you
BTLA 4 Y-Wings?
BTLA 4 Y-Wings, yes.
You can take 4 gold squadrons. Or 4 greys, actually, because you can put TLT unhinged. Greys are 2 points more expensive. This is 2 points cheaper than a TLT. Or 4 PS4 Grazer, I want that. Yes, please.
If only they could take Deadeye, that would be lovely.
Yeah.
That is one of the interesting points. Deadeye does work very nicely with this, replacing that attack target lock with attack focus.
You can pick your target, you still get the rerolls, and then you've got your focus for spending it.
Yeah, which potentially makes for an exceedingly punchy 3-dice attack.
No, Sync Turret Deadeye is going to be is a lovely little combination on the few things that are allowed to take it.
Yeah.
The get around Biggs turret, as Lithy calls it.
Yes, indeed.
As long as you don't take Deadeye focus.
Oh yeah. As soon as
The moment you put the focus there, you're in a bit of trouble.
As soon as
It's one time you don't want Deadeye.
yes, no. If you want to shoot something that isn't Biggs, don't take Deadeye.
I'm a fan of Sync Turret. I think it's a decent upgrade. I think
agree.
it's got a strong place in the game.
I think you're right.
I think
Good C play.
I think people are still going to take TLT more than they take Sync Turret because I don't think Sync Turret is quite as brutally efficient
No,
as
probably
the Twin
not.
Laser Turret is. But
It
I
is
do
cheap.
also think it does some very
However,
different
though,
things.
It is cheaper.
However, though, one thing I didn't think of until a little bit earlier, that has a direct comparison to a turret that you are never going to really see because of its effect.
Blaster Turret.
Blaster turret.
Yeah.
Where it's attack focus, but however, a Deadeye Sync turret, where effectively it's net the same effect.
Well, with Blaster Turret, you have to spend the focus to
Oh,
even
of course,
shoot the
you
thing
can
as
shoot
well.
the
Which is
so-
why no one ever sees it.
Yeah,
because it's
of course.
bad.
I think Blaster Turret was
An early point of the game.
it was an early point in the game, and people hadn't quite got to grips with the point costings and the balance of things.
Yeah,
Sync
I
Turret is
think
what
so.
Blaster Turret should have been.
Yeah.
And I would not be entirely surprised if we saw an FAQ for Blaster Turret in the near future.
And saying you don't have to spend the thing. But then you have the decision of saying, well, rather than taking Sync Turret, I might as well take Blaster Turret because it's Deadeye thingy is the same effect.
It gives you some options there at that point, rather than it not being a
Sync
choice.
Turret gives you the reroll.
Yeah, that's true. I'll give you that.
That reroll is very nice.
And then last up for new upgrades, we've got Intensity. But just before we do that, I will quickly mention the fact that, as we've been talking about both of them quite a lot, the TIE Aggressor does also come with the Twin Laser Turret.
Which was only unique to the K-Wing.
So that opens it up to a new faction. And we've also got Lightweight Frame, which was previously only in the TIE Striker.
Yeah.
So we're breaking the exclusivity barrier in this wave.
Yeah. Like there's some nice things in there. And Imperials, I think, are always going to want more lightweight frames. So
I think so. It's a really good card for their a lot of their 2 agility ships.
So last of all, well, for this expansion, we've got Intensity, which is another dual-sided upgrade card.
This is sort of becoming like a staple thing for them now, isn't it?
Yeah, we're seeing quite a few.
The Artcaster, adaptability.
It's
The U-Wing title.
U-Wing title.
It's design space they're really starting to explore properly.
It's a really smart bit of
like-
design on their part, I think.
It is. I mean, adaptability was an experiment into it, and that was utilizes it the least because it's basically only ever used as free, slightly worse VI.
Weirdly, I've used it in the other direction, so I can even all of my pilot skill out to the same level.
You either do it that way to move it up, or you do it the other way to move it down, and then you try and get the flat line. Because I love having sort of
You
like a
can.
flat
I
line
mean-
pilot skill that you can sort of direct to your thing the same skill.
The point is, I think the later ones make use of the dual-sided mechanic a lot better than Intensity did.
Yeah,
Not
no.
Intensity. This is the one we're looking at. Adaptability.
You have two
Intensity
choices
uses
and you
it
leave
really
it the
well.
whole game, rather than that's as the game progresses.
So, Intensity is a small ship only dual card upgrade. It's an elite pilot talent clocking in at 2 points. After you perform a boost or barrel roll action, you may assign 1 focus or evade token to your ship. If you do so, flip this card. And then on the other side, you've got Intensity in its exhausted form, where our TIE Fighter pilot is apparently having to have a little bit of a respite from the action.
Bit of a sit down. You know? Bit of a breather.
And the text on this side is, at the end of the combat phase, you may spend 1 focus or evade token to flip this card.
Yeah.
So, it's got a number of interesting potentials. It means that you can take a repositional action and still get some dice modification.
Yeah.
It gives a way of ships that cannot normally get evade tokens to get evade tokens.
Also nice.
And it's not a one-shot effect the way that something like Cool Hand is, which is why presumably it's 2 points rather than one.
A bit helpfully being shown Jake, because this works rather nicely with his ability.
Yeah, I was just counting out because I was
You
trying
get
to work out
4
in my head.
actions with Intensity Jake. You focus, you do a barrel roll, you take a focus from Intensity, you do a boost. When you flip the boost barrel roll, whichever way you feel like, either way you end up full both reposition actions, 2 focus, no stress.
So I think on its own, Intensity is an interesting...
Or even evade. 1 focus evade and your repositionals for no stress.
1 repositional at that point.
You do a focus first, do 1 of them,
and then get
which
your
then
evade,
triggers the evade.
and then you stop.
And then you
Oh,
stop.
of course, yeah.
Because Jake only works on focus results.
But there are times
still,
when you're
but-
desperately going to want that focus evade as well.
Exactly.
Yeah, also, the 1 reposition might get you exactly where you need to be, at which point you can stop.
Yeah.
You're done now, that's fine.
I think Intensity is quite a good card in its own right.
I think so.
Not stellar, not amazing, but there is a small number of pilots where it is hugely good. Jake is one of them. Poe is the other one. Pilot skill 9 Poe with Intensity.
And BB-8.
An idea here with potentially Corran Horn as well. Corran
Yeah.
Horn with BB-8.
Yeah, maybe. I could see it. But Poe
That's your
BB-8
Robin.
into a barrel roll, takes his evade, then gets his boost or target lock or whatever for his actual action. And he, because he's Poe, he doesn't spend that focus, so he can just flip it back at the end and do it all over again.
It also gives Poe a way of having focus evade.
It does.
Which is no bad thing either.
Yeah.
I think Intensity is almost going to be glued to Poe from this point onwards.
Focus evade.
Yep. Poe
Intensity.
can...
Or evade tone, yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Intensity can give you an evade.
With BB-8, you reveal your green, you barrel roll, you
take
evade, you take your regular, take your move, take your regular action to focus, and have a ridiculous token stack and a repositional action.
Yep. And then don't spend your focus because you're Poe, and use it to get Intensity back next turn.
Yeah.
And just token stack Poe forever.
Poe was always one of those pilots that was really tricky to pin him down before, but now he's going to be even more like a wild goose chase.
To give some context for how good this potentially is, I have taken a Poe stress bot Y-Wing Bigs list against a good player, lost my Bigs, lost my stress bot Y-Wing both before they got to shoot, and then Poe has 100-0'd the rest of the list.
Wow.
I have
He has taken out an entire 100-point list by himself.
Intensity Poe is a bit of a beast, and I have boxed it to fly Intensity Poe, Intensity Jake, and an Ahsoka Tano for a bunch of pilot skill 9 rebels.
Good lord, Max.
Yeah, I know, right? It's fun.
Oh yeah, because obviously if
It's
Ahsoka was to
fun.
barrel roll, she would then get a focus, then she could spend a focus at the end of the combat phase.
No, Ahsoka doesn't. Ahsoka
Oh, sorry,
doesn't have
boost.
it. Ahsoka doesn't have it.
She's veteran instinct.
She's
Oh,
VI.
Oh,
Yeah,
cool.
She's
Yeah,
VI
no,
to
no,
have
no,
pilot skill
no,
9 across the board. But she gives extra actions, and you can get 9 actions a turn without stress.
So,
Scary.
On 3 ships. It's
that's
great.
the TIE Aggressor.
That's the Aggressor.
I'm quite hyped. I think every part of this ship is really cool, with the exception of the Pilot Skill 5 generic, which I just kind of wished had an EPT.
If it had an EPT, then it would have use.
It would have a real place.
But as it is, you may as well just use those 2 points to put a lightweight frame on the PS2 version. It's better.
Yeah,
in basically every way.
But everything else in that pack is
Everything else in here
really
is
good.
everything else this is bringing to the table.
But who knows?
Yeah.
We've gone through unboxings before and looked at some stuff and gone, it's not going to see much play, and then it becomes like a really, really big thing.
It's happened.
Though I'll say, I called the SF.
Yes, you did, Robin. That's why you played it non-stop since it's
Non-stop
since
since
release.
release, yeah, more or less.
I'll give you 3 guesses who one of the guy with the backdraft and quick draw in his list is.
It's Max. I made that joke last night as well. So
Okay, so
Next
we've got next up